TKFM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Welcome in to the Husker Women's Basketball Postgame Show on 93.7 The Ticket.
Good afternoon. Welcome in. This is the Nebraska Women's Basketball Postgame Show following the Huskers' 80-65 loss to the Terrapins of Maryland this afternoon. A game where they did not come out shooting all that well, but still, in the end, put up a respectable fight. Let's break it down. Nick Sainert with you, joined as always by Derek Pearson. DP, how's it going, man?
What's happening, Nick?
Not a whole lot. What were the thoughts? Let's just get them out right now. I mean, Ashley Scoggin gets a career high in points and career 3 points made. 3 points made in a game. She gets a career high today. I mean, what were your takeaways from a team that struggled to shoot? They allow a pretty big number of offensive rebounds for Maryland. I mean, what were your just general takeaways from today's game?
The game was what I expected it to be. I mean, Maryland's program is top level. And this is a team that has set up its schedule to face, outside of Big Ten, the number 1, 2, and 3 teams in the country on purpose. On purpose. They are at a different place than Nebraska is. This is what Nebraska wants to be. What happened to Nebraska today at College Park is what happened to Michigan when they showed up at Lincoln a few weeks ago. You walked into a storm of people on a perfect time who wanted to make a statement. And those statement games are important. They're vital. Maryland, Michigan, Indiana, those are the ones that are going to battle at the highest level of Big Ten. It's where Nebraska needs to try to get to. Nebraska saw the bridge between where they are and where they want to be. Where they are isn't bad at all. You're 17-5 in the Big Ten, and you went in and then you found your grown-up legs late in the game against a top-tier Maryland team. We saw similar journeys in this thing versus Indiana and Iowa, so we know the things that Nebraska does well. This was a step up for Nebraska. Even in the loss, this is a step up because they didn't fold, they didn't go fetal, they didn't curl up and hide from the barrage of blows. What they did was they kept working to find a way to be competitive in this game against a very good basketball team. So, yeah, the final score is not indicative of the way the game was played. The second half tells us a lot more about Nebraska women's basketball that we need to know, right? When friction happens, what are they going to do? Well, they're going to find a way and they're going to fight. I think for this, Nebraska would walk out saying that they gained some confidence and that they now know what they need to do. They have more knowledge now than they did at 11 o'clock this morning. So, they got some performances from folks who stepped up. They had some folks who struggled, but listen, Maryland put 7 players on the floor. 6 of them were in double figures. My thought is that all of them would start for Nebraska.
Oh yeah, that's interesting. That's an interesting way to look at it. Yeah,
right. Like we're not talking about recruiting and currently in the same space.
Yeah.
We're not talking about 2 team programs at the same level of prestige. So give the Huskers credit for finding legs and raising their chin a little bit. There are wins all over this thing. I think this will be good to help them get ready for the end run in the Big Ten Conference and then whatever happens tournament-wise.
As always, you can chime into the show, 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline, the Starter Heyman text line, both those open for you. And then you can join us on the Starter Heyman Jewelers video stream as well, Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. Throw your comments in the stream. We'll be able to incorporate them that way as well. So I want to get back to kind of a point that you were just talking about. Nebraska can learn a lot from today because, like you said, Maryland's that top-tier team. And one thing, looking ahead at Nebraska's schedule, and we can get into this as we go along, but they're going to have opportunities when you look forward about potentially having a first-round bye in the Big Ten tournament. That's something that a lot of teams shoot for at the beginning of the season, right? Having that first-round bye. They have opportunities. They'll play another ranked team the next time out against Ohio State. Then they'll have a somewhat easier, quote-unquote, easier game, right, against Illinois. And then the gauntlet's still there with Indiana when you come back home on Valentine's Day. So there's opportunities ahead for them to continue learning, even if it's a small loss, I should say, like it was today. Like the 80-65 score, yeah, it's 15 points. But early on in the game, it looked like it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, they found the gear that they were looking for, in that you get comfortable once you understand what the closeout space is for a team that shoots a lot of threes.
Yeah.
Finding the closeout speed of a long, tall, athletic Maryland team. We see it in the men's games as well. The women, it took them a little longer than they normally do to figure out what the closeout distance was, to figure out how hard they had to battle to keep Maryland off the boards. I mean, I think Maryland was bigger at every position on the floor. They were longer at every position on the floor. So it took Nebraska a while to figure out what was happening. It's like, oh my goodness gracious, this is different. Now they saw a similar thing against Michigan, but to tell you that playing at home and playing on the road on a Sunday at noon doesn't make a difference. It makes a heck of a difference. You'd like to believe that a home crowd would have given Nebraska a little bit more help, but look, Maryland's faced number 1 South Carolina, number 2 NC State, number 3. Like you can go up and down the list.
It's the gauntlet.
Maryland purposefully, I want to point that out. They purposely sought out the big hammers of women's college basketball and got them on the schedule, even though they were going to play a Big Ten schedule. Like that's enough. Like to go through.
And that's where Nebraska wants to eventually get to, right? And from seeing just in the short, through the short microscope from last season to this season, they're on the correct path. Am I wrong in saying that?
Oh, they're absolutely on the right path. They're absolutely on the right path. And with recruiting taking a step up, but remember, you're just like with men's basketball, the recruiting levels are entirely different. They're shopping at entirely different grocery stores.
Exactly.
Right? But what Amy Williams and Chuck Love have done is given this team the tools to do what they do best within the system that they run. And each one finds a way. Now, this is an exception to the rule rather than the rule, but the Huskers aren't going to play a game where Jazz Shelley goes 0 for 10. Remember, we talked about that Ashley went 0 for 10, that Ashley's due, just from an average standpoint, that those numbers are going to bounce back. You're not going to beat, as Jay liked to say, you're not going to beat Meatloaf State if Jazz Shelley goes 0 for 10, let alone Maryland. Sam Hybe went 1 for 6. Again, you're not going. Sam and Jazz went 1 for 16. 1 for 16. You're not going to beat a bottom Big Ten team, let alone Maryland, in that. Now, there were some flashes, right? I mean, Ashley started slow. Finished just 6 of 11 from 3, right? The numbers tend to balance out in the end. She also led the team in steals with 4. She led the team in assists with 3, along with Ruby Porter. Those are the nights. But Izzy stepped up. It was good to see Izzy step up again. But you got no points from Bella Cravens, none from Kendall Moriarty, 2 from Kendall Coley off the bench, and Annika Stewart gave you 5. But you can't go into deep basketball country in the Big Ten and have those kind of performances, because here's the thing. Maryland was making a statement too.
They needed to. Also, I mean, they're 2 games back in the Big Ten conference race coming into this one. They're playing for that top seed, who's on top? Michigan, who Nebraska bulldozed at home, right? So that like looking back, like Nebraska has shown the ability time and time again, consistently, right? Consistent progress to compete with these top tier Big Ten programs. Another player that we can throw into that fold. I mean, Alexis Markowski went 3 of 6 from the field, added 12 boards, but putting the rebounding aside, the offensive production, that's not going to happen every night. Alexis only having 8 points, or I should say, shooting 3 of 6, only taking 6 shots. Maybe that's a better way to put it. And then, like you said, Jazz Shelley and Sam Hybe going 1 of 16. That's few and far between. That's not who this team is.
Yeah, I mean, but this is what happens. We've seen this in basketball, whether it be men's or women's. That legitimate inside paint presence, especially in several numbers. I mean, Maryland's 4. Anybody other than the point guard could have played pivot tonight.
That's true.
Right, there's a lot of competition in there for Markowski, right? So being able to get her hands to balls, especially on the defensive end, was great because it was stopping Maryland from getting cheap points on second chance points. But she was in among sharks tonight. She got better today too. Yeah, she got better today too. Yeah, she got better today because she was facing some legitimate sharks. And they kept running one and then another and then another. And for her to end up with the 12 or 13 rebounds, whatever she had, again, she's better right now after this loss than she was walking in the door today. She's better now. She understands that you can't get complacent. You can't get comfortable where you are. She still has work to do to be amongst the elite. She now has a kind of a North Star for how high she can go, that she needs to get better at several other things, right, to help this team and herself be the team and players that they want to be. Listen, don't miss in this that early on, Nebraska set up this schedule. So they've had 14 home games. This was their 6th or 7th away game. And of all the places they're going to play, Maryland's at the top of, oh my goodness gracious, what is going on here? So, they're going to have to learn how to win on the road. They're now 3-4 on the road. And just like they had to learn to get above 500 in the Big Ten, they're going to have to learn to get above 500 on the road to do the things in the postseason that they want to do, because you're not going to play postseason at home. This isn't the NIT. You're not going to be home. You're going to be on the road. So you better figure out how to travel, better figure out how to recharge and rest and recover, better figure out what to eat, how much sleep you need, and then what kind of prep you need to put in to play at the level of this. Now, mind you, in my mind, there's only 8 teams in the country that are on the level of Maryland. Like that's a deep pool you're talking about. So Nebraska found out where they were, and then they can decide where they want to be, because they have the tools. They took on a monster today, and what they got from it were lessons. Again, they're not going to play another game where Jazz and Sam go collectively 1 for 6.
Exactly.
That's not going to happen. Also, I mean, you got to think about it. If you take away Ashley's 6 for 11, this team went 3 for 13.
Ouch.
Right?
Once again, doesn't happen. Like,
right.
doesn't happen. Like, they are good at what they do. And tonight they lost by 15 to a top tier Big Ten program, not playing as well as they usually do. Like,
yeah, it was. I kept thinking I was going to get bored by it, but I kept watching Nebraska probe to see what would happen next, which is a sign of an intelligent, progressive team, that they weren't going to just lie down and go, okay, I'm not going to keep making this pass that you've stolen three trips in a row. I'm not going to do that. Now I'm going to do something else. I'm going to pump fake and get you out of position. And then you realize, okay, well, if they dive at the first one I pump fake, then there's a back cut. So the person who they were defending who tried to jump that thing had to get punished. And Nebraska figured out, if you're gonna jump the 3-point line to steal that, then that shooter sitting at the 3-point line need to get on their horse and get to the basket and let Jazz and Sam give them the ball in that short space. And then learning to have Ruby Porter and Moriarty and Widener learn that it's okay to take that mid-range short baseline jumper. They don't have to go into the Sharks' den down there in the paint. Don't go in there. Don't go in there.
That's
Take
really
the mid-range
fascinating.
jumper.
That's really fascinating that you make that point, because my whole thing is you gave another opportunity to Allison Weiner, to Kendall Moriarty, Annika Stewart to learn once again against a program like Maryland. And it wasn't in garbage time. Like, this whole game was not in garbage time. Nebraska was still going all out in the fourth quarter. And that's something that I think Husker Nation, the fans, should appreciate out of this team, because every single game, whether they're up 30 against North Carolina Central like they were earlier this year, or they're down 24 going into the fourth quarter, whatever it was tonight, I can't remember off the top of my head, but they're going all out, and it's giving freshmen like Allison Weiner and Moriarty experience and valuable experience in actual game-like situations, not just garbage time where you're getting blown out or vice versa.
Well, let me tell you, there were a whole lot more lessons learned against Maryland's top 8 players, because that's all they played. Like, Maryland's
that's all they had.
But that 8, good heavens, man. that 8 is something special.
That's an 8 that's going to, at least you would expect, barring anything crazy, get to the deeper parts of the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, this is a grade 8 team, right? This is a grade 8 team. Legendary coach in Brenda Freese. As a matter of fact, when it comes to this game, she and Dawn Staley are 1 and 2 in my mind currently in the game for what they do and how they do it. But to watch the young players against Maryland's best, and again, if Maryland could have rested some players, they sure would have. But Maryland was here to make a statement today. And it's, okay, young bucks, I know y'all feel good and y'all get on a run, but that momentum has to stop here, because we have a greater mission than this. And the numbers, again, they lost the battle on the boards, but look, some nights you're supposed to lose a battle on the board because the other team's just that good at it. They battled, they contested, they battled, they competed better in the second half in the paint than they did in the first, and it's not even close.
I would agree.
Right? Where you just learn, you're going to swing at me. Okay, well, guess what?
I get to swing back.
Well, I'm going to be stronger in what I do because I know you don't like it.
Yeah.
Like, they held their composure, right? But it was when the trash talking started, I'm going to play harder. That's the sign of a team that's progressing in the right direction, is when the chaos and the friction happens, do you get away from what you're there to do? And this Nebraska team stuck with its guns. It kept spinning the wheel. Okay, let me see this. Let me see this. See if this works. Let me see if this works. Let me see if this works. And again, in the end, when your 2 best players, and I don't think there's any question that Sam Hybie and Jazz Shelley are the 2 best players, when your 2 best players go 1 for 16, because of the work of the opponent. Like, I'm talking about, they put Jazz and Sam in some tough situations. Right?
Yeah, that Maryland defense was annoying all game. And give them credit for that.
Well, Benson is underrated. She's South Carolina defense good. Like, yes. Like, she's that good. And so, yeah, it's agitating and frustrating. Reese is just so sound, so solid in what she does defensively. That, right? And then Bibby, look, I'm not sure that there's a player in the Big Ten that I want to see less than I want to see Bibby. Like, her and Diamond Miller, like, give me her and Diamond Miller against Clark and Cinzano from Iowa. Like, let me see that matchup, because it's an understanding of who the other is, how they play together, be willing to work together. And I think Nebraska found some of that tonight when they figure out how to constantly get Ashley and Markowski on the same side of the ball offensively, and master the entry pass, cut, back to the 3, back step 3, bang. When they master those things, oh my goodness, we're talking about a different level. It's a different level, and they will have time to do it, because you got to remember, they're just learning to play together.
I was going to say, that just takes time, right? That just takes
Yeah.
time on the floor together. So
Yeah.
going through some of the numbers here. I mean, Angel Reese for Maryland, 6 of 14 from the field, had 16 rebounds, 15 points. So a strong game from her. She did get beat up. One mention I will say, give credit to Alexis Markowski because she plays with as much passion as anybody. You see that if you go to games at PBA or if you're even just watching on TV, I suppose. And I think she deserves some credit for being a true freshman out there against Maryland. Angel Reese talked some words down low, got teed up, and Markowski just stood there and stayed calm and cool. And so I thought that was something that may go under the radar a little bit for her keeping her composure.
No, they did it. It was there. Izzy Bourne as well, Jess Shelley. They got into a little bit of a little bit of cat and mouse with it. But that's what great teams are supposed to do.
Yeah.
They're supposed to say, come here, little lamb. Let me drag you out here to deep water and see how you respond to it, right? Come on out here. Like, come on out here. You know, I'm going to smack you with a fin and see if you're willing to come into deep water with me. And then once you get into deep water, how you respond to it. Well, she battled for 12 rebounds on the road at Maryland. And I guarantee you there's not a lot of players who add 12 rebounds at College Park against this Maryland team. Mm-hmm. Just doesn't happen that way, right? It just doesn't happen that way. So, and I guarantee you, look, there aren't a lot of teams where somebody hits 6 threes against this defense. Like a 6 for 11, they got a lot of people to run at you. Oh, we go, okay, here comes Reese. Okay, here comes Benson. Here comes Sellers. All right. Oh, you think you got a rhythm now? Let me send Collins at you for a little bit. Yeah. Look, I like what I saw specifically in the second half because they got back to basic. And it's stop panicking about being, facing resistance. Expect. And that's team maturity, that's individual player maturity is, okay, this 6'2" young lady is going to come running at you. And she's a little bit longer than the 5'9" girl you faced last week. Mm-hmm. Well, trust what you do. Trust your repetition. And look, if you get a shot block, it's okay because that's just a measure for the next time. And it doesn't mean stop doing the thing that got the thing that got you beat. No, do it again. Just do it better. Mm-hmm. Quicker release from that space. Don't change your shot, but be quicker in the release. You get beat on the boards. I watched Ruby Porter on 3 possessions get pinned by Diamond Miller, and she finally settled, got lower than Diamond, swung her hip in front of her, and boxed her out. And I went, there you go. That's progression. For all of that, and I'll tell you, I'm not sure this wasn't Jess Shelley's best defensive effort.
Yeah.
Right? She just faced people who do what they do exceptionally well. Like, so Sam competed, Nebraska's press break was better than it's been, right? Thing we've talked about and wondered. Well, listen, the length and size of Maryland's press break, Nebraska was very sound in their fundamentals. It's kind of what Strick I talked about, what Jay had talked about, that negative reverse, that negative pass back in the backcourt to force Maryland to reset. And as they reset, you attack. That's a special thing that has to happen. Look, I haven't had a chance to check out Amy Williams postgame, but I would imagine that she's taking the building block and getting back on the plane. Because now she's got some coachable things. She's got some measurable moments, right? In this moment, were you big enough, strong enough, fast enough? Were you good enough in this moment? And it's without criticism. Like, she's not going to have to criticize her players to teach them, which is a wonderful coaching. It is underspoken when you you have coachable moments that don't require criticism. They simply require adjusting your eyes to what worked and what didn't. And that's what Amy Williams is going to get on the plane with today.
I want to mention one more thing and kind of get your thoughts on it, because we got it on Twitter. We were replied at on Twitter on our little tweet there, and I want to visit this conversation real quick. would it be safe to say that you can chalk up some of the, the 19 turnovers, I guess, which Amy Williams would be the first one to tell you that's far too many. The poor shooting efforts in the first half, right? Because we talked about the evolution throughout the game. They were much better in all facets of the game in the second half against Maryland. Could part of that just be the schedule that they had to go through this last week, playing Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, then a travel day? Or do you flush that all out of the pool? Because that's just part of the Big Ten.
Well, I mean, everybody does it. You're not the only team playing that schedule. As a matter of fact, I think most of the women played all of their games on the same days this week, like no matter across the league. Just following all of the women's games that were on Big Ten Network, and otherwise. And I'll yell later about this game being on Big Ten Plus.
I was already going to in the second segment.
I will already yell at that, and special thumbs down to the announcers today. They were terrible. And I try not to do that, but this is a basic thing, man. Like you can go. The whole point of you having access is for you to go behind. Forget about the pronunciation guide that they give you to call a game, but the fact that you could simply go watch Maryland tape and hear the pronunciations from all the previous 21 games to be able to figure out how to pronounce names. And we're talking about basic level names. So that's
basic preparation and the, like, for Nebraska's sake, right? Go back and watch any of Nebraska's games. Also watch 30, not even 30 minutes, 15 minutes. They'll say everybody's name and bam, it's that simple.
Well, Sam Ivy's all conference, returning all conference.
Jazz Shelley, if Jazz Shelley was, I made this joke last week, and it was a joke at the start, but then I realized that it might actually be serious. If Jazz Shelley was coming out of a recruiting class this year, she would be a 5-star. She would be a huge deal.
Yeah,
and stuff like that. So, like,
if she was playing at Maryland, South Carolina, NC State, she would be on everybody's lips in the country because she's a stat stuffer that this league hasn't seen in a while. But the fact that you buried this game, that's a whole other deal. The scheduling aspect is this: to get a young team, you want the young team to play a gang of games early at home to get comfortable in routine and otherwise. Because when they go on the road, especially when you change time zones, you're going early, you're walking into a place that has a little bit of mystique to it. You're going to a big city rather than just some college town. You're going to fly into DC or Baltimore, and you're going to have to, right? You got to deal with the big timeness of it. Learning how to do this is how teams develop. This is why, again, Maryland went to South Carolina. They went to NC State. Like, this is, they went in and they went and found sharks to play with so that they can prepare themselves for this point of the season. Nebraska has to learn. Again, I think the adjustment will happen because they're going to have to go on the road this back half, and most of them are night games, so they'll have some routine and they'll understand what it is. They'll have to get used to traveling and going the day earlier, and we'll talk to Ashley this week about it and ask her how they get through it. But let me tell you, I liked the second half response. I'm not worried as much about the number of games in last week.
Yeah.
I'm paying more attention to, do they look tired? Do they look fatigued? Do they look distracted? And they didn't. They didn't. So there's that, at least in my mind.
Once again, Nebraska women's basketball falls 80-65 in a tough game against Maryland on the road on Sunday afternoon. We will take a break. We'll say goodbye to DP. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Watch some Pro Bowl. We will talk to you tomorrow, DP.
See you guys.
There goes DP. So once again, we'll take a timeout. Nebraska falls 82-65 to Maryland on the road. Once again, 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline, the Starter Heyman text line. Both those continue to be open, as well as the Starter Heyman Jewelers video stream. When we come back, we'll talk about kind of the Big Ten Network's decision to put this on BTN Plus. I think that's a really fascinating topic. That it's a game between a 17-4 Nebraska team who is 6-4 in the conference coming in, and a 16-6 Maryland team who is, like DP and I were kind of talking about there a moment ago, is one of the top teams in the Big Ten Conference. And they're 8-3 in your conference this season. A team that's 2 games out of first place in Maryland, and a team in Nebraska that is still fighting and in really good spot and contention for a first-round bye. And you put it on BTN Plus. So I want to kind of dive into that a little bit, because we saw it quite a bit last year with Husker baseball and just conference baseball. The Big Ten Network's decision to put this game on BTN Plus was kind of puzzling to me right out of the gate. We'll do that. We'll run through some more stat lines from everybody on the Huskers team in what was a frustrating first half of shooting against the Terrapins. Got better in the second half. Izzy Bourne had a really big fourth quarter on her own that really made Nebraska stay competitive in this game, which was something to watch as we go along. We'll do all that. We'll give you kind of a score update from around the country. We'll do all that next. Once again, Nebraska women's basketball falls 80-65 on the road to Maryland to fall to 17-5 and 6-5 in the conference. We'll be back on The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Shopping for new flooring is different today. Getting your questions answered, making the right selection, getting the best value, and installed quickly and professionally. Visit ostreetcarpet.com or shop our store. We'll answer all your questions and help you make the right choice. You'll be enjoying your new floor in just days for less than you'd pay elsewhere. Carpet, vinyl, wood, laminate, tile, and area rugs. We've got it all.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Happy Hour with Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez-Clary.
You just kind of feel a little more settled with a guy like Trev Alberts leading the way. I think that's a big part of it.
Trev Alberts is like a mix of the two. He knows the business side of it. He knows what needs to get done, how to make money, how to spend money, etc. Whatever you got to do there as an athletic director. Then on the personal level, he wants to get to know the coaches.
I think a good description for Trev is that he understands how important relationships are.
Weekdays from 2 to 3 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hey, sports fans. Rico here with HIS Auto Care 70th and Van Dorn. Carfax recently awarded us as a top-rated auto service center for 2020, and Lincoln Choice Awards voted us as the 2021 top independent auto repair center. Call us at 402-488-8934 for superior service bumper to bumper. Mention this ad and get 7% off. Doesn't get any better than that. Rico for his Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
You can search online for hours to find the best electricians in Lincoln and the surrounding area, but I'll save you time. High Electric has been serving their customers for 30 years for both residential and commercial properties. They're experts in everything electrical, from remodeling to new additions, hot tub installations, electric vehicle chargers or EV chargers, lighting, ceiling fans, and more. High Electric takes jobs from Beatrice to Omaha and all towns, big or small, in between. Call them today at 402-466-6606 or learn more at highelectric.com.
Bagels and Joe is ready for winter with white chocolate raspberry cream cheese, great on any bagel. And try a grilled Italian panini for lunch with ham, prosciutto, banana peppers, and provolone on a sun-dried tomato bagel. Bagels and Joe, 4 Lincoln locations.
Now what do? Football is over. The weather's crappy. Man, I tell you what, it's a perfect time to go car shopping. This is Carl from Price Right Auto. Come out to Price Right in Westo and you'll find over 100 great vehicles at some great prices. With our non-commissioned sales process, we let you control the sale. We won't let you get a lemon since we back every one of our vehicles with our peace of mind 3-month warranty. If you want a hassle-free car buying experience, check out our website, pricerightauto.com. Come see a great selection of affordable used cars on Westo Street at Price Right Auto.
Tune in to the Teammates Mentoring Hour each Wednesday from 6 to 7 p.m. on 93.7 The Ticket. Hear stories from the program started by Tom and Nancy Osborne and how it's changed mentors and mentees' lives and how you can be involved. The Teammates Mentoring Hour, Wednesday nights from 6 to 7 o'clock on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now they've raised wages again, and they're hiring for production operators at $22.07 per hour, and other select jobs starting at $23.77 per hour, with wages growing up to $29.71 per hour. Continental also has salaried jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates. To learn more or to apply, go to continental-jobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
Breakfast tacos, brisket tacos, pork tacos, chicken tacos. You hungry yet? I can keep going. Pork or chicken, queso nachos, queso mac and cheese, Mad Mac burritos. Now you're salivating. Muchachos is Lincoln's premier New Mexico barbecue fusion restaurant. You can't miss them in their bright blue building. Pair that great food with delicious coffee for breakfast and a variety of local and national beers on tap the rest of the day. Order your food online at yomuchacho.com or visit them in person at Muchachos on South 11th Street between L and K Streets.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Welcome to AutoZone. Dealing with battery problems? We've got you. Let's start with a free battery test. If you just need a free charge, we can help with that too. And if it's time for a new battery, we've got you covered. We're the only place you can find Duralast, the batteries more consumers choose. That's what makes us America's #1 battery destination, where help is always in stock. Claims based on a proprietary consumer study and data from the MPD Group 2019.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Beauty lovers, we've got good news. 21 Days of Beauty is here at Ulta Beauty. That means you can snag the very best in beauty with daily beauty steals of 50% off the must-haves from brands like Tarte and Benefit Cosmetics. And with new launches to love from brands like KVD Vegan Beauty and Tula, your beauty routine is in for a treat. Have fun finding new faves at beauty's biggest event. Shop in-store, online, or try curbside pickup today. Event ends September 19th. Ulta Beauty. The possibilities are beautiful.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC. And things have obviously been pretty challenging lately with new vehicles, with all the microchip and supply chain issues, but things continue to loosen up as Koppel gets more and more new vehicles in each and every week. We've had many customers also custom order their vehicles. So if you don't see what you want in our current inventory, we can put an order in to get exactly what you want. So go online, reserve your new vehicle at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did.
Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill has 2 Lincoln locations that are great for any occasion. If you're downtown for a basketball game or a concert, stop by their newest spot at 10th and P. Don't forget to check out their social media pages to learn about any concerts on stage at Rosie's. If you want to avoid a busy downtown scene, head over to the original Rosie's just south of 14th and Highway 2 for a feeling of your local hometown bar. There's plenty of TVs at both places and great food and drink. What are you waiting for? Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill at 10th and P and on South 14th Street.
If your home isn't delivering the year-round comfort you expect, call the experts at Bryant. Warm and cool, comfort and confidence. Bryant Air Conditioning and Heating. Call 467-1111.
Landmark Implement, your local John Deere dealership, is hosting their annual planter clinic at the Adams County Fairgrounds in Hastings, Nebraska, February 23rd and 24th. Landmark's Planter Clinic offers expansive equipment training and important information on new and updated technology for this planting season. Learn more about AMS documentation and guidance, row unit and meter settings, and soil moisture monitoring options. Join us February 23rd and 24th in Hastings, RSVP by calling your local Landmark.
Now back to the Husker women's basketball postgame show on 93.7 The Ticket.
Once again, Nebraska falls to Maryland 82-65 on the road this afternoon. Nick Sandert back with you in the studio. Nebraska women's basketball postgame show sponsored by Action Plumbing, Heating, and Air. So, I mean, impressive game from Nebraska. I mean, it was an impressive game from Maryland. We know that, right? We talked about it. DP and I kind of alluded on that earlier in the first segment. We'll go about 10 minutes here, and we'll wrap it up, get you on with the rest of your Sunday. I want to talk about the Big Ten Network's decision to put this game on BTN Plus, on a subscription streaming service. I think that's pretty interesting because when you kind of break down what's going on here, Nebraska women's basketball is 17-4. One of the, I don't know if more surprising programs in the Big Ten would be the right word. I don't know if surprising is the right word, but more impressive programs in the Big Ten this season right now. drawing a lot of eyes. I think Nebraska basketball fans just in general are becoming more drawn to Husker women's basketball this season. Number one, because they were 17-4 going into this season, but also they, I mean, let's be real. Nebraska men's basketball isn't playing well. So I feel like from a business standpoint, the Big Ten Network missed somewhat of an opportunity to draw more eyes to Nebraska women's basketball, Big Ten Conference women's basketball in a matchup between Nebraska, who once again 17-5 now after today's loss, and Maryland, who is 17-6 now after today's win, and 9-3 in the conference after beating Nebraska by 15 on their home floor. And you put this game on BTN Plus. And on top of that, what goes along with that, and here's, I want to be delicate about this. They allow the students to broadcast the games, and I want to be careful how I talk about this, because if you don't know, I am also a student. And here's what I'll say. I mean, it's a great opportunity for college kids to broadcast on the Big Ten Network. With that, though, and becoming part of the Big Ten Network, it loses credibility and it loses a certain bit of structure and cleanliness. I think that's a good word for the broadcast when you don't do basic research. And by that, I mean name pronunciation. I think there was nothing more frustrating than turning on my TV today and hearing Sam Hybe called Sam Habe, and hearing Alayshawn Markowski and Ashley Skojan. Like DP and I kind of talked about, all you have to do, I mean, with it being such high level of college basketball, you are in a Power 5 conference. All you have to do is go onto the Big Ten, BTN Plus, the company that you're calling it for, or go onto YouTube, I guess, and watch 10 minutes of one basketball game from each side, Nebraska and Maryland. You don't have to get into the X's and O's if you don't want to spend that much time on, but at least get the name pronunciations down. I think that's a very little basic thing of preparation that, as just a broadcaster, you want to make sure you have all buttoned up. Anybody will tell you that, right? Because you don't want to lose credibility, not only for yourself, but as for the broadcast, for the Maryland journalism school that's broadcasting that. And I understand mistakes happen. I truly do. But it all started with the Big Ten Network deciding to put this game between a 17-4 Huskers team going into the game and a 16-6 Maryland team. Maryland, who is always at the top of your conference, always competing for conference championships, always making a big run in the NCAA tournament, and a Nebraska team that has stormed onto the scene this season with started the season undefeated, 10 or 11-0. I can't remember when they lost to Michigan State, what their record was, if it was 10 or 11. And then you have them now 17-4 with a team that's beaten number 8 Michigan at home in blowout fashion. And this game deserved to be on the Big Ten Network, and the people, Husker fans, deserve to have better and easier access to this game. That's just my 2 cents. There was a couple things I would change. We saw it last year with the whole, camera work. Camera like cleanliness and sharpness of the picture on the TV. Also, it all goes into effect to an extent. And we saw it last year with baseball season. And I understand college baseball is a little bit different because there's a lot of games and you don't know what times and all that. Might not work out with your daily programming and stuff. But it's noon on a Sunday in basketball season, where at college baseball, I kind of get it, I guess, if somebody's throwing first pitch at 3:30 and you have a game later that night on the Big Ten Network at 6 p.m. Like, I understand that, but just little things I would change and start. I would put it on the Big Ten Network and make it accessible for fans. All right, that's the end of my little spiel. I kind of mentioned, I kind of tweeted something out earlier about how, according to the BTN Plus broadcast, the Huskers have some new players: Ashley Skojan, Alayshawn Markowski, and Sam Habe. So it's just little things like that can really bump the broadcast up for just viewing pleasure. All right, let's go through some of the stat lines here as we have a couple minutes left on the Starter Heyman text line. Kirk from Georgia says, Jazz is darn fun to watch. Her hustle is top notch. Yeah, and once again, adding on to the things that DP and I were kind of talking about, Jess Shelley, there's not going to be any nights, many nights, or any nights, I should say, that she's going to shoot 0 of 10 from the field and 0 of 5 from deep. And once again, I guess you can even add these in. She's going to usually have more than 5 boards, and she's usually going to distribute the ball more than 2 assists. And I will say this, the whole first half, and you even bled over it in the second half a little bit, Nebraska had good looks. Like they had opportunities to make shots, but they just didn't fall, and that's part of it. Part of that may be chalked up to the schedule and for the high demand of just having to go out every single night and play a physical basketball team. I mean, they come in off of a tough-fought win against Penn State. They lost to, or excuse me, they beat Rutgers, they beat Purdue, they beat Wisconsin in the matter of a week, 7 days right there, 4 games in 7 days. And then it's, hey, surprise, Sunday afternoon at noon, you guys get Maryland, one of the top teams in the Big Ten Conference. So that's definitely something to keep in the back of your mind when you're looking at these stat lines and when I read them off to you. But Ashley Scoggin, oh my goodness, Ashley Scoggin, impressive performance, career high 20 points, career high in 3-pointers made in a single game, 6 for 11 from deep. After not starting off the game all that hot, she really turned it on, and we'll talk to her this week on her show. DP will talk to her, I'm sure, as well, on his show potentially. So Ashley Scoggin in 31 minutes, 6 of 13 from the field, 6 of 11 from deep, 2 of 2 from the free throw line, 3 assists, 4 steals, and 20 points while only committing 1 turnover for Amy Williams. Isabel Bourne, I mentioned, had a big fourth quarter, played 22 minutes, 5 of 9 from the field, 1 of 1 from beyond the arc, finished with 11 points, 4 rebounds. But one thing, just maybe switch or clean up a little bit, is 4 turnovers for Isabel Bourne. We mentioned in the first segment, Jazz Shelley, Sam Hybe combined for 1 of 16 from the field. Sam Hybe finishes with 6 points on the evening. Jazz Shelley shut out. Can't remember the last time that happened. If it has happened in a Nebraska uniform, I would like to bet on that. It did not. I thought Kendall Coley played some big minutes for Amy Williams. Kendall Coley's somebody interesting. Comes in as a high-ranked recruit last year, joins Nebraska in the middle of the season. Obviously should have technically still been in high school, but was able to join because she graduated early and played in a couple games, but still she redshirted last year, and they decided to switch her positions after adding Alexis Markowski as well. So she's playing a little bit closer to the backcourt, but is capable of being down low as well. So she is somebody this season that we haven't talked about a whole lot. And that's not to say that the position change has gone rough. It hasn't gone smooth. It's not that at all. I think it is working out well. It's just taking time. It's teaching Kendall Coley. And once again, they have Alexis Markowski, Isabel Bourne, Bella Cravens, and don't forget Annika Stewart as well. So there's depth there. We've mentioned it many times before on the show and things like that. So Kendall Coley, though, 10 minutes tonight, 1 of 1 from the field. She hit her only shot, grabbed a board as well, finished with 2 points in the game. So I thought that was good. Ruby Porter started to play some big minutes down the stretch here in the last couple games. She finishes 2 of 5 from the field, 1 of 2 from deep, finishes with 5 points and 3 rebounds, 3 assists. Allison Widener, still the freshman, still opening eyes, 4 of 9 from the field, finishes with 8 points, 2 rebounds, 1 block, but committed 4 turnovers. Yeah, that's one other thing that I will say. Nebraska commits 19 turnovers. It's probably a little too much for Amy Williams' liking, which is completely understandable if you are the head coach in her 6th season. Once again, Nebraska women's basketball falls 80-55 to Maryland, who is currently ranked 17th in the country. We'll see if that changes tomorrow when the new AP poll comes out. Nebraska falls to 17-5 on the year, 6-5 in conference play. They have a matchup. They have a couple days off. Then they travel to Columbus, Ohio on Thursday, February 10th to play Ohio State, the Buckeyes, who are also ranked. They play them in Columbus. That game will be on Fox Sports 1. Tip-off is scheduled for 6 p.m., so the postgame show will begin with me, and DP will join me, I'm sure, around 8 p.m. or so on Thursday evening. We have about a minute left here in the women's basketball postgame show. So let's update you on a couple scores from around the country in women's basketball country. All right, Florida State is up 3 on number 20 Notre Dame at home. Florida State trying to get the win. They're 10-10 on the year, trying to get a win over an 18-4 Notre Dame team. That'd be a big win. Number 4 Louisville destroyed Syracuse on the road 100-64. Back in the Big Ten Conference, Indiana, who Nebraska plays on Valentine's Day, beats Purdue at home 64-57. I'm really excited for that Valentine's Day matchup. I highly encourage you to take your significant other out there as a date to PBA for Nebraska, Indiana. That'll do it for us. Once again, Nebraska falls 80-65. They are now 17-5 on the season. Thanks again to DP for joining me. Nick Sainert with you. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning.